headlines today. I'm Maha Siddiqui. Breaking news coming in right now. The centre's efforts to get a consensus on amendments to the anti-rape law through an all-party meeting have not made any headway. That's the report that's coming in at the moment. The Akali Dal has also said that it's against reducing the age of consensual sex to 16 from 18. Various parties have put forward their proposals during that one-hour meeting that started in the morning. It's now ended, and it appears that little headway has been made. The government is keen on bringing that bill after the the delay that we've seen even for that bill to come into the cabinet and the government getting flack for it. Now we see that the consensus that the government was looking from all parties is not really coming forth as well. There are parties that are opposed to various provisions, and most importantly the one on the age of consent going down from 18 to 16. Kartikeya Sharma, Deputy Editor, has been tracking that story and is getting us more details now. Kartikeya, what transpired in that one-hour meeting? What are you hearing?
A lot of parties objected to the age of consensual sex. Then there were a lot of differences over the fact that both should be the buffer. But right now, as I speak, the leader of the parliamentary party of Trinamool, Sudip Bandyopadhyay, is speaking, and I'm putting my phone to him. With unanimity. The Trinamool Congress has a separate idea on the issue. We are totally in favor of a very strong bill, and guilty persons should be punished, even they be hanged, even they be punished with life imprisonment, whatever sort it may be. But in such an important cases, as because the state governments are the implementing authority, opinion of the state government has to be taken for a while, even within a short gap of 7 days time or something like that. Without the consent of the or discussion or with the opinion, without the opinion of the state government, such type of bills should not be carried out so hastily. So this is our view. We have placed it, and with the hope that it will be received due attention. Hello.
Yes, Kartikeya, could you take us through exactly what points have been made by the BJP then in this case?
Yes, Maha. Now the two things have emerged. Sudip Bandyopadhyay said that federally the bill has to take into account the views of the state government. Now Bharatiya Janata Party and other political regional parties are saying that the age of consensual sex should not be reduced to 16. Then some political parties, Maha, are of the view that the bill has a capacity or the potential to get misused at the level of Thana because it will be implemented by the constabulary. So there are broad 3 lines on which the reservations are. One, misuse at the level of Thana. Second, on the issue of consensual sex, that the age should not be reduced from 18 to 16. And this is a new element which Sudip Bandyopadhyay has added, which we just heard, that state governments must be taken on board. But Kamal Nath is of the view that let's pass the bill and bring in amendments on the contentious issue. But then legal luminaries can say that that will deform the entirety of the bill or the totality of the exercise, because you can't change one part without affecting the whole.
Kartikeya, delays after delays. It was such an important bill. We know that Parliament will get into recess for a month in just a couple of days. What is the likelihood that this bill can actually be brought in either of the houses in the session?
You see, Maha, the second meeting is going to take place after 2 hours. Now, Kamal Nath was saying the very fact that the meeting could not conclude and members had so many things to say means that the conflicting views are there, and it also goes on to say that the political parties have different opinions on it, which means that it is very difficult for the government to pass this bill in Rajya Sabha because it is a minority. So now the job of the Kamal Nath in the next meeting, which is going to take place somewhere around 1 o'clock, is that get the principal stakeholders on board, because if it doesn't, Maha, the bill will not muster enough strength to pass the deadline of the parliamentary proceedings.
Kartikeya, what about the Samajwadi Party? I mean, on the one hand, there is the BJP that is opposed to reducing. All right, let's go across to listen to Kamal Nath first, and then we'll go across to Kartikeya. Alright, those are shots on your television screens of the all-party meeting that happened this morning over the anti-rape law. Remember that there are various voices coming forth from different parties about some of the provisions within the bill that they are opposed to. Let's start with the BJP. BJP is opposed to the fact that the age of consent should be lowered from 18 to 16. Their standpoint is that if the age of getting married is 18, why should consensual sex age be reduced to 16? Now, let's get in a word from Ranjana Kumari, who is a social activist on that very point. Ranjana Kumari, the BJP opposed to the fact that the age of consent should be reduced from 18 to 16. They are taking a moral ground really over this issue and not looking at the facts of life that the youth have started perhaps experimenting at a young age these days, and that's the reality which one has to look at.
Important issues yet totally.
Fact that 50% of marriages are still, according to National Family Health Survey.
लेकिन उससे पहले एक बार स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स का कंसर्न लेना चाहिए। एज हम लोग 18 साल के पुश में है, लेकिन 18 साल 16 नहीं, लेकिन हम लोग चाहते हैं कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का
Alright, so the TMC, as you just heard there, has added another viewpoint to this whole issue, and they've said that the state governments should also be taken on board. This after BJP and Samajwadi Party already expressed their reservations over the bill, with the BJP saying that the age of consent should not be reduced, and the Samajwadi Party opposed to some of the provisions, especially stricter laws in cases of stalking. Let's go across and back to Ranjana Kumari. Ranjana Kumari, very sorry for having interrupted you there. We were listening to the TMC's viewpoint on this, but go ahead. You were trying to explain why the age of consent should be lowered from 18 to 16.
Well, I think the Indian reality is that, as I was already saying, 50% marriages, according to National Family Health Survey, has taken place 18 and below, and is taking place because we have not been able to control child marriages. In that case, you cannot really criminalize two same-age people below 18.
Ranjana Kumari, I'll have to interrupt you there for a bit. Let's listen into Kamal Nath and he's talking about that all-party
अपनी बात
meeting.
रखी, मोटा मोटी इसमें सहमति है, पर इसमें कुछ ऐसे मुद्दे हैं जिस पर फिर से हम अगले 2 घंटे में बैठ के चर्चा करेंगे। ये मुद्दे हैं कि इस कानून का दुरुपयोग ना हो। संभव है कि इसका दुरुपयोग हो सकता है थाने में या कहीं कोर्ट कचहरी में। इसका दुरुपयोग ना हो, इसमें कोई प्रावधान की आवश्यकता है। ये बात विभिन्न दलों ने सामने रखी है। दूसरी चीज 16 या 18 साल की उम्र रखी जाए, इस पर भी चर्चा की आवश्यकता है। तो लगभग इसमें सहमति है और 12:30 बजे फिर से इस पर चर्चा होगी और कौन से नए प्रावधान रखे जाए ताकि इसका दुरुपयोग ना हो, इसका मिसयूज ना हो। Now I'll say in English. We have had a all-party meeting in the morning in connection with the Criminal Laws Amendment Bill. The ordinance was brought out by the government, and this ordinance has to be replaced by a bill. Largely there is consensus on the contents of the bill, except that there are concerns about misuse and abuse of some of the provisions, and parties have suggested there should be adequate measures for safeguard. What should be these measures? We will again discuss in the next few hours. Also, there was concerns about the age being 16 years, the age of consent being 16 years. This also will be discussed because whether it should be 16 or 18 is there were divergence of views. Largely the intent and object of the bill has been appreciated, and there are 2-3 provisions which will be further discussed, and if required the government will bring in amendments so that the bill can be put up for introduction, consideration and passing in Lok Sabha and thereafter be taken to Rajya Sabha.
So the meeting is inconclusive?
All right, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kamal Nath over there saying that another all-party meeting is going to be held within 2 hours. Remember, the first meeting that was held this morning has made little headway, although Kamal Nath there saying that there is a broad consensus on most of the issues. However, the two sticking factors here are apprehensions that the bill could be misused and therefore adequate measures for safeguards are necessary, and that's going to be discussed after the next 2 hours. Also, the fact that there are parties that are voicing their concerns over reducing of the age of consent from 18 to 16. Let me go across to social activist Ranjana Kumari, who is with us. Ranjana Kumari, there are apprehensions that some parties, specifically the Samajwadi Party, have laid out about the provisions of this bill being misused by some women. Now, there are apprehensions, but does this take away really from the whole idea of strengthening women through a bill that can actually safeguard them as an entity, as a community?
Well, it's a shame that every time Samajwadi Party, if women are getting in the country, has always opposed, whether it is women reservation bill, whether any kind of provision for women. And government buckling in to Samajwadi Party's pressure is a shame, because, you know, they should know that we are all waiting to hear that at least policy makers of this country have become now, after 16 December incident, some sensitivity has come. Justice Verma Commission report has been before they drafted and introduced the law. And secondly, you know, they can't divorce themselves from the reality of the country that 18 and below there are experimentation. Not only genuinely there are marriages where girls and boys are engaging in sexual activities. So all right, such a big deal about it. And if they want to bring in amendment, they can say. I mean, I think between if it is 18 and between the same age group, please let me complete this one sentence. All right, go on via media. If that is happening between the same age group, then should not be criminalized. They can bring in that amendment. Thank you.
All right, Ranjana Kumari, stay on with us. Let me also get in a word now from Kavita Krishnan, who is also a social activist. Kavita, talking about how important this legislation is, do you think that there are unnecessary delays that this piece of legislation is seeing at the moment?
No, it's very dismaying that we should be talking now. In just 2 months back, we have seen what happened with a young woman, which has spurred the need for a new law, and now we are talking about misuse. I'm saying, which law in the country is not misused? You already have provisions in the IPC, section 182 and 211, which are there for any kind of misuse of any law. Why do we need to build in any kind of misuse provision into this law? I very much hope that will not happen. One small thing I'd like to say about the stalking thing. If we had a law against stalking, we could have prevented so many acid attacks. We could have prevented Priyadarshini Mattu's rape and murder. Even this recent incident in Agra is probably an instance of stalking that has led to a terrible, brutal murder of a young girl. Let us please enact this law. One small point about the age of consent. Let us understand that age of consent at 16 does not mean that it is consent for sex at 18, at 16. The point is that if the age of consent is 18, it means that below that, the consent of a girl cannot be offered as a valid defense against a rape charge in a court of law. All right. So if a boy of 16 between 16 and 18 has a relationship with a girl of 16 and 18 which is consensual, you may not like it socially, but when he is charged with rape by the brother or by the parents or somebody, then even if the girl tells a court of law that I consented, the boy will still be convicted for rape. That is the question, do we really want that? I completely endorse the point raised by Ranjana that today in our marriage law is 18, it's true. But if a 16, 17-year-old boy is married to a 16, 17-year-old girl and they have sex, then he is not punished for any crime. All right. He is not convicted. He cannot be charged with rape.
All right. Kavita Krishnan, in fact, making a very important point over there about how there are already provisions to stop people from misusing laws, and that necessarily needn't be added to this law, which seems to be a sticking point at this moment. Another all-party meeting lined up in the next 2 hours, so we'll have to wait and see whether any headway is made in that meeting. For the moment, Ranjana Kumari and Kavita Krishnan, many thanks for speaking with Headlines today. Time now for a look at some of the other stories that are making news across the country. Former Samajwadi